Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Bryan Miller, Senior Director of Global Strategic Outreach at Wonder Workshop, creators of our beloved robot Dash, as you see on screen. And I'm so excited to be joining you today as we have a fun, almost hour of code planned for you today, where you and your students, hello students, will be able to join along with us as we go through and do a coding activity together. And then you'll be able to take this and play with it all week long. So I'm really excited to get us started. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. As I mentioned, again, my name's Bryan Miller. I've been with Wonder Workshop for about almost 8.5 years at this point. I'm a former kindergarten teacher. I'm a former K-5 computer teacher. I'm former director of educational technology at one of the largest private independent schools in the United States. And I've traveled the world having opportunities to keynote conferences and visit lots of schools. And I love being able to come back into classrooms and do activities such as this with students and teachers. So we're going to have a fun almost hour today to play and learn a little bit more about some of the great features that you can find using our virtual robot Dash inside of our Make Wonder platform. So before we get started, I have some tips and tricks to make sure that today's webcast goes as smoothly as possible. First, you're going to want to code along, and it's up to you. We've been doing this for the last few years, and sometimes teachers will want to do this after we've done the lesson and watched the video, and then you go on and you do what I showed later on. Others have decided to code right along with me. It all depends on what you have available to you in your classroom. So if you want to play along and do what I'm doing on screen, you can do that by visiting code/beta.makewonder.com. And this is a very special link that we've made available to you for this week, and you will gain access to our Blockly platform along with Virtual Dash from today until Sunday, December 10th. So that means, students, you have an opportunity to go home and continue to play as well, should you want to explore some more. Also, if you'd like, have some paper ready. You're going to be designing a board game today. So part of the lesson will be you're going to be designing your board game, and I'm going to be teaching you how to, well, I'm not going to spoil it yet, but you're going to learn how to be able to navigate the board using our virtual Dash robot. This session is recorded and will be available for playback following today's live webcast. So you'll receive an email with a follow-up thanking you for joining, along with the link to watch this back, also along with the URL to be able to access the virtual Dash robot for the rest of the week. Now, if you have any questions, you can use our Q&A feature in the chat. And I see lots of friends have already jumped in here and have started sharing who they are, where they're from. So let's jump in here real quick and say hello to some of our friends. Hello, Miss Norman's class from Summit Park Elementary in New York City. Miss Hoffman in Alabama. Tuchita, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, in LA. Miss Powell in Kentucky. Miss Height in Coral Academy, Eastgate in Henderson, Nevada. Welcome. Mr. Duca from Minnesota. Lots of friends are in here joining us, and now the chat's going wild. I'm coming in to you from my home office, and at Wonder Workshop, we have the opportunity to work remotely, which is really nice, and I work out of Orlando, Florida. So if you see all of my Disney stuff in the background, I'm about 20 minutes from Walt Disney World, so I am always there, and I'm a big Disney collector. So you get to see some of the artwork I've collected through the years. But as you're joining in and sharing who you are, where you're from, welcome. We love to have you, and thank you for joining us. We also have students that are joining in. Now, this is this link that you're joining where you have a chat is for teachers to show in their classroom. We are also streaming live on YouTube for our students that might not have a classroom where they're able to watch us in, such as homeschool families. So welcome to our friends that are joining us on YouTube today. While you don't have a chat that you can interact with, we do welcome you, and we are so appreciative of you joining us here today. Yes, I see that Someone will be joining us for FETC in January. Wonder Workshop will be there, so you can come and say hello to myself and the rest of the team. So we look forward to seeing you there. All right, so let's keep going. If you're looking for more teacher ideas or ways that you can use this in your classroom for our teachers, you can sign up at portal.makewonder.com to be able to create a class of up to a classroom of students, and you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to use your physical Dash robot. In order to gain access to a virtual Dash robot, you do need a Make Wonder subscription. So keep that in mind. That's why we've unlocked it for this week, so all of our teacher friends can use it during Computer Science Education Week. And should you choose to want to create a subscription for your school or for your classroom, you can visit makewonder.com to find out more information. And also, if you're having technical issues, you can always come back and watch the recording once you've figured it out. I know that sometimes there's lots of little tech things that might be happening. A web page might not be loading correctly. It might be running slow. You might have to unblock some things on your network. We understand. That's why we're recording this. That's also why this is open all week long, so you have the ability to go back and do this throughout the rest of the week and hopefully resolve any technical issues that you are running into. So today's hour of code, last year's hour of code, we did conditionals. This year, we're doing variables. Now, we have students in here from all different age ranges. So we have some friends that are in here probably from maybe first grade all the way up to 5th or 6th grade. I'm making this as simple as possible so you're able to follow along and do what I'm doing. Everything will be step by step. And then you'll be able to follow along with me, or you'll be able to watch the recording back and do that later at your own time. But we are making this as easy as possible so all of our friends across all age ranges are able to complete this activity. And because of that, I have made some things available to you, such as one of our videos, and have also really worked hard in trying to simplify some of the definitions that you will be hearing, because the word variable might sound a little scary to some people that have not done much computer science programming. So we're going to be able to learn a little bit more about that. So here's the overview for today's webinar. First, we've already gone through the introductions. I'm going to share a little bit about Wonder Workshop. I will be doing an introduction to variables. Then we're going to dive into Blockly using the URL that I shared, code-beta.makewonder.com. I'm going to show you how to access the variables in Blockly, and we're going to do a coding activity together. And then I'm going to share for our teacher friends that are in the classroom with you additional resources that you can use to continue this as you explore more outside of the classroom, and then also open up for any questions and answers. Now, if you have any questions for today for my teacher friends, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section, which is also in that little chat window that you're in. There's a little Q&A area. That's going to pull that out of the little chat window, and it's going to send it specifically to me with a question, and it's going to flag it for me so I know to look out for that and answer any questions. Now, feel free to ask them as we go throughout. I'm going to keep that open, so if I do come across any questions that is relevant to what we are doing, then I will be able to answer it live as we're going through the activity. If it's something that can wait till the end, I will answer that. And I might not be able to get to all of the questions and answers. So this will be recording your email address. So if you do have a question for us that I'm unable to answer at this time, or it's something that I need to ask someone else to get an answer for, we're able to email you after with an answer to your question. I won't be able to answer technical questions. So if you have any questions around that, you can email our support team at support@makewonder.com. The other thing to note is you have a little handouts area inside of your window where you're watching this. This is for our teachers. There is a copy of this entire presentation in there for you. So you can click on that. You can download the PDF of this presentation so you have any of the links or the resources that I share with you that you can continue to use throughout the rest of the week or when you get around to it. So please feel free to use that. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, first, a little bit about Wonder Workshop. And our vision at Wonder Workshop is to make one-to-one coding and robotics accessible to all K through 8 schools with Make Wonders coding pathways and virtual Dash. So with that, we're able to make this easy for students to learn and have fun learning as well. I see some questions coming up in the chat. Student login code, you will not need that. I'll show you how to access everything once we get to the section where I jump live into Blockly. So hang tight. All you have to do is go to that URL and hang out, and you won't have to go anywhere else. And then our mission at Wonder Workshop is to spark creativity, inspire lifelong learning, and create tomorrow's out-of-the-box innovators. And that's something that we have been passionate about for over 10 years at Wonder Workshop. This is something that we have continued to strive for and make computer science as fun and easy as possible and inspire new learners that are entering the world of computer science as young as kindergarten with our products. So we're so excited to continue that mission today to make this simple and easy for you to teach computer science, in this case, variables. So what is a variable? And this is a simplified definition. And a variable is a named storage location in a computer program that holds a value. This value can be changed as the program runs, hence the name variable. So let me give you an example of what a variable is. And then we'll watch a little video that explains a little bit more. So think of a variable like a labeled cup. All right, so I have a cup here that can hold different amounts of water. And let's name this cup water cup. So anytime that I want to use this cup, I'm going to call it water cup. So if I say, hey, can someone pass me the water cup? They're able to pass me the water cup. And it contains whatever is inside of this cup. When we start with the cup, it might be empty. Then we can fill it up a little bit, maybe halfway. And then later we might fill the water cup all the way to the top or pour some of the water out. And in a computer program, a variable works the same way. We give it a name, like a water cup, and it can hold different things at different times. So the water cup right now is holding water. Actually, it's not. It's empty, but we're pretending there's water in here. And at any time, that can change. So I can say, I want the water cup to contain a button. So I'll drop the button in here. Or I can say the water cup, and I'm still always calling it a water cup because that's what we've called this, contains a pen. All right. Or we can say the water cup contains a dash sticker. In this case, it's always still called a water cup, but it can hold different things at different times, like stickers or buttons or pens or numbers or words. Just like how the amount of water in the cup can change, the information in the variable can change too. So let's watch a little quick video that explains a little bit more about how we're going to use variables today and how they work.
Let's explore variables in coding.
What is a variable?
Well, a variable is something that can hold a number or holds information for something that can be changed. A variable can only hold one number or value at a time, but that number can be changed anytime in the program. Variables can be used to perform math, control distance amounts, control the number of times a loop repeats, and much more. In other programming languages, variables can hold all sorts of different things like letters, strings, lists of numbers, and more. A variable must be declared when the variable is created, and then that variable is only allowed to hold that value of that type for the duration of its life. Did you know you probably use variables more than you think in your day-to-day life? For example, when making a fruit smoothie, you will use fruits like bananas, strawberries, and cherries. You have a set value for the variables of that smoothie, which are your fruit, like 1 banana, 4 strawberries, and 5 cherries. That number is stored for each of the fruit variables and would be the same each time that variable is used. If you wanted to double the recipe for the smoothie, you would multiply each variable by 2, and your code would do the work for you. Another fun fact about variables is even Dash's firmware uses variables. The variables are used for location and orientation and to store Dash's name, color, personality, and a great magnitude of other data.
Wow! Variables in coding are so interesting. I can't wait to give it a try in Blockly.
Great! Let's talk about how variables work in Blockly then. In Blockly, a variable can hold a number. Variables are numbers in Dash's memory, and Dash can remember up to 5 numbers at a time. I bet you were wondering, well, why use variables in Blockly? Using variables in Blockly allows you to drive distance amounts that are not standard or preset with the drive blocks. Using variables in Blockly also allows you to utilize randomization with numbers up to 4 digits. Also, counting up and down increments that you get to set, and even doing math operations, addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. To break that down into a few simple ideas, we can remember variables in Blockly as holds, calculates and manipulates, and use. Holds stores a number, calculates and manipulates, can do basic math operations, and use make the robot perform the actions.
Variables really do sound useful.
They sure are, so learn, play, code. Let's go!
All right, so now that we've learned a little bit about variables and how they work and what we can do inside of Blockly, we're going to be exploring that. So you're going to want to visit code-beta.makewonder.com and open up your screen, and we are going to code together, and I'm going to show you with my screen exactly what you're going to need to do. So let me go ahead here and head back over to where you all are. And I'm going to share my screen. All right. So you should be on the same screen that I am or something similar where you see a code. And I know that there are many friends that are experiencing this right now because I have a lot of people that have asked, what is the code to log in? Well, we have unlocked everything today and until the end of the week where you do not need to use any sort of teacher code. So all you're going to do, if you have this little window here, you're going to hit the back button. And when you do that, it will take you right in and you will be able to continue on and continue to code. So you do not need any sort of code that is showing up on your screen. All you have to do is hit that little back arrow button and it bypasses needing that code to turn on the virtual robot. Now you have to use this special link to access the virtual robot because if you're just using the regular Blockly link that you go to do coding regularly, which is not the code-beta.makewonder.com, you will not be able to access the virtual robot. So you have to use the special URL that we've shared, code-beta.makewonder.com, and then hit that back arrow button to get out of that little student login code area or the teacher login code area. That will bypass all of that for you. Now, once you are on here, you can either hit the back arrow button again, or if you go into My Projects, you can click Create New. We're going to the same place, so you can do it either way. You can either hit this back arrow button, or you can go to My Projects and click Create New. It's up to you, but what we will be doing is we're going to be working with a blank project. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click that back arrow button here, or we'll go into Create New. You're going to choose a blank project, and then you're going to click Create. So again, when you are on here, you're going to click in My Projects, Create New. You're going to make sure the blank project is selected, and then you are going to click Create. And once you've done that, you are now brought to this screen where you can see we have our When Start block to get started, and we also have our virtual Dash robot loaded up here on screen for me. So I'm going to share a little bit about what we're able to do inside of this window before we actually start some of the coding. Now, if this is your first time using Blockly, welcome. This is Wonder Workshop's version of Blockly. And we are able to go in here and we are able to add in all sorts of different movements and motions and sounds, and in this case, variables to make Dash in our virtual robot do lots of different things. In order for us to make Dash do something, what we need to do is we need to choose a block. And in this case, I'm just going to choose the forward block, and I'm going to drag it and drop it underneath the when start. And when I do that, you'll hear a little clicking sound. And that little clicking sound locks it into place. See how everything's joined together now, kind of like you're building blocks. If I want to disconnect it, all I have to do is just click on my block and drag it and move it away. And now it's disconnected. So we want our blocks to stack in to each other. You want to hear that little clicking sound to know that you've done it correctly. And then to get Dash to do what we've just told it to do, in this case, move forward 30 centimeters at a normal speed, we would hit the play button. And now we'll be able to see our virtual Dash robot go ahead and move across the screen. Very simple, very easy. That's what we need to know how to do to get started for today's coding activity. Now, there's a couple of other little things that I want to show you. The first is we have an undo button down here. If for some reason you need to fix something, all you have to do is click that undo button, and it undoes what I just did. So it disconnected it. And if I want to do the redo button, it puts it right back in place where it was. So you have an undo button and a redo button. Also, if we're in here, I am able to go in and I'm able to click on the forward, and I'm able to drag this all the way into a trash can if I want to get rid of it. And it is able to then go away into the trash. So now if I try this again, or I hit the undo button, I'm able to go in and I'm able to see that it reappears. I can drag it and drop it in, and now it has gone. So that's how we're able to throw away anything that is inside of here. Now, if for some reason you have a virtual or a physical Dash robot and you want to try what is happening with a physical Dash robot at any point in time, you can go up here to the little plus button and you can pair your Dash robot to the program, and it will remove the virtual Dash robot from your screen, because you should be looking to see what's happening with your physical Dash robot. So keep that in mind. Anything that we're building today can also be done with a physical Dash robot. If you don't have a physical one, you can do it with the virtual one. Using the virtual robot, we have this window over here where I'm able to do things like click and drag around to see Dash's world, which is pretty cool. I can do things like use a pinch and zoom if I have a touchpad, or a scroll wheel on your mouse where I can zoom out really far or get really close. So you can see all sorts of different angles of Dash, and you can see that we've made our virtual Dash look exactly like our physical Dash, which is pretty cool. We also have the ability to change the view down here, where we're able to get a little bit longer of a view, just kind of a bird's eye view, so you're up a lot higher. We can also turn off any sounds if we need to, and we can even make it full screen, so we can see very big what we have going on here. So we can go in and we can explore. Now, one of the fun things that I'm able to do as well is I'm able to use the arrow pads, the up, the down, the left, and the right on my keyboard, and I can drive Dash around, just kind of like a little remote control car. And there are some very special little spots inside of Dash's neighborhood where you're able to have things happen. So you can explore those. If you land on certain areas, little things come to life in the world. I'll let you play around with that and figure that out. So to get out of the full screen view, we click this little button down here, and it will shrink it back down and make this small again. All right. Now that we've learned a little bit about how the environment works inside of Blockly, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So we're going to start writing some code, and we're going to be building a program today that turns Dash into a dice. You know, when you're playing a board game, I love board games. And one of the things that I always have a hard time doing is finding where I put my dice. But we can build a program using our virtual Dash robot that is able to turn Dash into a dice. And we're going to be doing some programming today that will make that happen. So instead of, throwing a dice and having a number come up, and we're going to be using the numbers 1 through 8 in this case, we're going to have Dash roll an 8-sided die for us. So to do this, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to put a variable in. And I know variables are scary for some people, but we learned a little bit about what variables are and what they do. And we just know that they are a placeholder. So in this case, we have a variables block area in here called variables. It's in blue. It's the second one up from the bottom. If we click on this, the first thing that we have to do is we have to tell our variable what it is. So just like we called this water cup, we need to determine what we're making our variable. So we're going to take this set block at the top here, and we're going to click on it. We're going to drag it underneath, and it snaps in. So now what we've done is we can go in here and we can set this to be any one of these. So these are pieces of fruit, and all the fruit is representing is a number for us. So we're going to be creating a dice, and when we create the dice, we are going to have the dice always set itself to 0 when we start the program, because it's a new turn. So we can't have the dice give us a number before we even start. So in this case, the variable for, let's pick a watermelon. The variable for watermelon is 0. So I'm going to click on that, and I've set the variable to 0. Now, that's the first thing. So if I click start and I take a look, it gives me the number that I spun here. The watermelon equals 0, because that's what it says it is. So right now, I'm not rolling any numbers because I haven't programmed it to roll any numbers. So the first thing that we're going to do here is let's make Dash's eyes light up, because Dash has a bunch of eyes, little lights on his eyes that you can see all around here. We can also see that in the virtual robot. So if I swing Dash around here and zoom in, we can see that Dash has a bunch of little eyes here, and these eyes light up. So we're going to have Dash show us what number we spun or rolled with the dice and have that eye light up to tell us what the number is that we rolled. So to do this, we need to have the lights, and we're going to set the eye pattern. And the first thing that we need to do is make sure that all of the eye pattern lights, let's have them all turned off, because Dash hasn't rolled anything yet. So if I hit the play button, it rolls a 0, but nothing has happened to the eyes. So how do we start making the eyes light up based on what we roll? We're going to make Dash, and instead of rolling, we can't roll Dash, but we have a bunch of button presses on the top of Dash's head that we can do to start the rolling. So we can say, when I press Dash's top button, that will make it roll the dice. So we can do that by going to the start, and we have the when Dash top button. Now, something you'll notice when I drag this on is it doesn't snap to anything. And that is on purpose, because this is saying when I hit the start button, it's going to roll the dice and give us what the variable is, but it's going to follow whatever I build over here. It'll make sense in a minute, I promise. But when I hit the start button, it's not going to do anything until I go over here and I press Dash's top button. So because you don't have a physical Dash robot to press the top button, we have a virtual button that appears when we set it to when Dash's top button. So that means I can click the top button, it rolls the dice, it's telling me I need to add some blocks because I haven't told it what to do yet, but that is how we're going to get the program to start. So I'm going to hit the start button, Dash will sit there, I'll press Dash's top button, and then it will start to roll for us. So how do we do this? Well, we can go back into our variables, And we are going to choose now the change variable, and we are going to click on this little orange, and we're going to set it to our watermelon because we wanted to call this a watermelon. And now we have a bunch of dice that we can choose from. So now it's going to say we can choose a random number between 0 and let's do 6. We'll do a 6-sided dice. So a random number between 0 and 6. And that's what dice are. When you roll the dice, it gives us a random number that it's rolling. So we're asking Dash to give us a random number between 0 and 6, which is just like a dice every single time we roll. So I'm going to click on this little orange button down here. And now it says when I hit start, it's going to set the number to 0 because we haven't rolled yet. Then I'm going to press Dash's top button to roll, and it's going to give us a random number between 0 and 6. So let's try this. Let's hit the play button here. And it's waiting because I haven't hit Dash's top button yet. So now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to press the top button, and now it's going to roll, and it's going to give us a random number between 0 and 6, and it gave us a 2. So that's just like me rolling a dice. It rolled a 2 for me. So now I know that the number is 2 that I rolled. And that's the very simple way to make Dash turn into dice. All I have to do is just have it choose a random number between 0 and 6. We can have Dash choose a random number between 0 and 35 or 40. Let's say 40. And then when I roll, it will give us a random number, 23. So all it's doing is just choosing a random number for us. We told it what it needs to be, and it's choosing it when I hit Dash's top button. So let's set this back to 6. So we have our 6-sided dice, and we've already created one dice, but we want Dash's eyes to light up with this because we want it to show up on the screen what is happening. A little bit more fun than just seeing a little number appear on the side. And if you want to create a very simple, quick dice sort of game, this is the way to do it. Very easy. But we're going to get a little bit more advanced now. We're going to show you some of the other things that Dash can do when we are using variables. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into the variables section, and we're going to say if, and we're going to change our orange to a watermelon. And it's going to say if the watermelon equals 1, all right, because we are now saying we're giving it an assignment for each number. We're going to tell it to do something for every single number that it rolls. And we're saying if the watermelon is 1, or if I roll a 1, now I can do something in here. And I'm going to come over to the lights, and I'm going to click on the eye pattern, and I'm going to drag the eye pattern in. And now I can click where it says all on, and we're going to tell it to light up just one light because we rolled a 1. So I can undo all of the lights if I want to, or I can click this little icon down here and it turns all the lights off. And now we're going to say light up one light. There we go. One light has been lit. When I press this little button, it's going to apply it. It's called custom. So now it says, I'm going to roll the dice, and if it rolls a 1, the eye light is going to light up. Otherwise, we haven't told it what to do with any other number yet, so the Dash robot's eye will stay dark. So what we need to do now is we need to assign an eye light for every single number that we're doing. So we're doing 1 through 6. So that means we need to create a few more of these. And by the time we're done doing these next 5, you're going to be a pro at setting eye lights and setting your variable. So let's go back into our variables, and we're going to, again, choose if, drag it on. We're going to change this from an orange to a watermelon. we need to say that now this, if it equals the number 2, and we'll press the button. So now if the watermelon equals 2, we need to set the eye pattern just like we did the last time, where we're going to come in here to the lights. We're going to choose the eye pattern. We're going to change it from all on to all off. And now we're going to choose, let's do 2 lights. So now we've created it to roll and choose the second lights. Let's do the next one. If, so we have to go into variables. We have to choose the if the watermelon equals 3, then we're going to go into the lights. We're going to choose the eye pattern, and we're going to turn it all off. And now we're going to choose 3. 2 more, 3 more. Let's go back into variables. If, we'll change it to a watermelon. And if you're watching this and it has been recorded, you can pause at any point in time and follow along. I know I'm moving a little quickly for some of my friends, we can always go back and watch this. But we're going to keep moving along so we can fit all this in with the time that we have together. So now we're on number 4. So if the watermelon equals 4, we're going to go into our lights. We're going to choose our eye pattern. We're going to turn all the lights off. We're going to choose 4 lights now. And we're going to click the button. We're going to now come back into variables and choose if. We're going to change it to the watermelon equals 5. And we'll set our lights. So now we need to light up 5 lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our last one, we're going to do variables if. I'm going to change it to watermelon and equals 6. And we're going to choose our lights. We're going to set our eye pattern to 6 lights now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lights. All right. So what I've done here now is I have created a program that says when I press the start button, it's going to set the number to 0. So we haven't officially rolled yet. Then when I come over here and I press Dash's top button, it's going to roll a random number between 0 and 6. And when I roll and it gives me a number, the eyes are going to light up based on what number I rolled. So if I rolled a 2, 2 eyes would light up. So I think we're ready to give this a try. All right, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click play. So it's setting the eye pattern to off. It's set our watermelon to 0. So now when I come over here and I press the top button, I rolled a 1. And if we look, Dash's eyes only lit up 1. So how do we reset this? Because if I come over here and press the top button again, it's going to keep just adding numbers. So in order to reset this, we need to stop our program. We need to start it again to set the number back to 0. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to roll. And now I rolled a 4. You can see I rolled a 4, but I can also see that Dash has 4 of its eyes lit up as well. So now you have an idea as to how you can make your Dash robot turn into the different eye lights and be based off of what you have rolled. And you can keep building onto this, which is really cool. You can do something like when Dash rolls a 1, you can say, I want Dash to do a sound, and we'll have Dash say hi. And when Dash rolls a 2, we'll have Dash make the sound of a horse. And when Dash rolls a 3, we're going to have it do a fire siren. And when Dash rolls a 4, we're going to have it do a weird beep. When Dash rolls a 5, we're going to come in here and we're going to have it say, ta-da. Ta-da! And when Dash rolls a 6, we can have it do a
Aye.
So now I have programmed sounds along with it. And you can even go in and you can say, I want to create my own sound, because you get sound blocks where you can record your voice saying, you rolled a 1 or you rolled a 3. And you can add that in. So when you roll the number, it'll tell you what the sound or what the number is. So let's give this a try real quick and see how it works. So it sets it to 0. We're going to hit the top button to start the roll.
Ta-da!
Roll to 5, and it did the ta-da, and 5 eye lights lit up. You can even go in here and make this as much fun as you want, where you can say, I want Dash to turn a certain distance or a certain number of degrees, and then Dash will make the sound end turn, or however you want to program it, or light up, or do any one of the features that Dash can do. So now you have learned how to create some simple dice inside of our Blockly program using our virtual Dash robot and using variables. So that is your little introduction into variables. Now, going back over here, some additional resources for my teacher friends as we wrap up today. And don't forget, if you have any questions about Wonder Workshop, about what we do here, feel free to use the chat. This is your opportunity for your students to ask any questions that I can answer for you about what we do at Wonder Workshop, things like that. But we have additional resources that are available for our teachers to be able to continue to do more. First, you have our Make Wonder funding guide at makewonder.com/funding. You're able to find funding to bring physical Dash robots into your classroom, or subscriptions to our Make Wonder platform, which is what we're using today to make this possible using Blockly. You are able to get loads of resources on how to find funding to bring these great products into your school. We also have, for our teacher friends, lots of professional development. So you can visit makewonder.com/professional-development to check out some of our online courses, our webinars, our blog posts, lots of different videos. We run a twice yearly STEAM summit, and also onboarding information as well. So be sure to check that out. And if you're looking to get started using our products, this is a great spot to do that. We also have our Webinar Wednesdays for our teacher friends. So you can register for this at bigmarker.com, which is where you are right now. We have Webinar Wednesdays with Wendy Wells from Wonder Workshop, lots of W's. And she goes through and does lots of different things, from using this with teachers, using this with tech centers and library media specialists, and also with the district administrators. So be sure to register for one of her wonderful Wednesday webinars with Wendy Wells at Wonder Workshop. I'm just going to keep throwing in lots of W's. We also, for our teacher friends, have lots of free resources. So you can sign up and subscribe to our free Resource Friday newsletter, where you're able to go in and get lots of great resources and stay up to date of lots of great things that are happening at Wonder Workshop. So be sure to register for that. You can scan this QR code or visit this URL to be able to subscribe to our free weekly Resource Friday newsletters. And finally, we have our Wonder League robotics competition, which is live now, where you're able to do a bunch of different activities with your students and have them compete against students all across the world. This year's theme is Welcome to Wonder League Park, which is an amusement park theme where students have to build amusement park games and navigate an amusement park and create all of the operations behind it. It's a great way to extend the activities inside your classroom, outside in a competitive environment. Everything is virtual and it's online. So you are able to have a physical robot. You're able to then take that and create a space, and you don't have to travel or go anywhere to do this. You can do this right from your classroom and record everything and then upload it to our platform to be able to compete. You do need a Make Wonder subscription to be a part of it, but we have special pricing for coaches. You can visit makewonder.com/robotics-competition for a little bit more information and also to register. And we have our qualifying round that is open from now all the way until February, the end of February. So you have plenty of time to get started. And you have not missed. We just launched mission 3 today. So you have plenty of time before the invitational round, which will happen in March. So be sure to register and you're able to play along with us. All right.
Let's explore.
Puzzles and lots of activities that you can do with your students in there. Could I explain the fruit again? Sure. Let me jump into the screen real quick. And in here, in the variables, all the fruit is a variable. And for most educators using variables, you're figuring X, Y as variables. All we're doing is we're saying that in this case, every time that I have a watermelon, it has to equal something. And this watermelon in this case equals 0 until I have the watermelon change into something else, but it's still a watermelon. Just like we have the cup of water, the water cup. The water cup is always the water cup, but the water cup can contain a button. The water cup can contain a pen. It can change at any time. So in this case, the watermelon is changing from 0 to whatever number I'm rolling on here. So it says choose a random number between 0 and 6, and then it will give me what that number is. So now that watermelon goes from being a 0 to a number 1. So because it's now a number 1, it's looking through the program that I built here, and it's saying if there is a watermelon that equals 1, you have to do something when it equals that. So in this case, when the watermelon equals 1, it's going to create the light and make it 1 light, and it's going to say hi. If I roll and the watermelon is now a 3, again, it's a watermelon, but what's inside of that watermelon is now the number 3. So it says, look through and find the number 3 in my program. So if the watermelon equals a 3, it's going to do these things. So hopefully that helps a little bit. You can always come back and you can rewatch this and also follow along with our variables video, which I'll be sharing out in the thank you email that comes along for joining us today. All right, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful continuation to your Computer Science Education Week. I thank you so much for joining. This has been lots of fun. If you want to explore more, visit makewonder.com. And don't forget, for my friends, my students that are here at school or at home, this website is available for you to continue to play with for the rest of the week. One of the things that I'm challenging you to do now is I want you to create a board game or pull out your favorite board game. And instead of using the dice that are supplied with your board game, I want you to use the virtual or the physical Dash robot using the program that we created today. So I wish you luck. I can't wait to see how it turns out. And feel free to continue to follow us on social media. You can share directly to our Twitter or our Instagram. You can tag us at Wonder Workshop. We would love to see what it is that you come up with and create. So again, thank you all so much for joining today. Have lots of fun coding, and we will see you at the next hour of code in 2024. Take care, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.